Hi, my name is Claire. If you're new here, I'm Irish, and if you're not new here, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of followers online that are not from Ireland, so I have been getting a lot of comments asking what on earth Repeal the 8th is, especially when I wear this jumper all the time. So I thought that I would try my best to explain to you in as simple a way as possible what the Repeal the 8th campaign is in Ireland and why I think it's important. I will do my best to put links in the description so you can go do more complicated research and reading on it, but I will try and give a very simple explanation to the best of my ability. In the interest of clarity, I am very for repealing the 8th, so there's my bias on it. The 8th refers to the 8th Amendment of the Irish Constitution, and this amendment gives equal right to life to a mother and her fetus, or her baby, or whatever you want to call that thing that goes inside a pregnant woman. In theory, the amendment sounds like a good thing, right? Equal right to life for mother and baby. What it has actually done in practice is nearly put the fetus's life higher than the mother's life. There have been a number of fatalities because doctors could not intervene or would not intervene while the fetus was still technically viable. Personally, I think this is a total contradiction because if the mother dies, the baby dies. But listen, I'm not a doctor. The amendment was passed by 67% of the vote on 7th of September 1983. Very important note here, Ireland was a very different country. In 1983 in Ireland, it was illegal to be gay, illegal to get divorced, and unmarried pregnant women were still being placed in Magdalen Laundry penitentiary workhouses. So, very different Ireland, kind of. In 1983, even contraception was still illegal and would be for a further 2 years. So listen, we've changed a lot. We're not quite there yet, but we've changed a lot, at least officially. So 9 years after this amendment was passed, a case came to the Supreme Court, which is known as the X case. This case involved a 14-year-old girl who was pregnant as a result of a rape. I'll put a link down in the description which will describe the case in more detail, but the gist of it is that she was suicidal, she was pregnant, and the state wanted to stop her flying to London to get an abortion. The case was eventually resolved in her favour with 5 Supreme Court justices ruling that abortion was permissible in certain circumstances and that a woman had a constitutional right to an abortion if necessary to save her life. Stay with me, this is relevant, I promise. In 1992, 3 referenda were held in which the Irish electorate decided they did not want to exclude suicide as grounds for abortion, they did want a woman to have the freedom to travel abroad for an abortion, and they did want freedom of access to abortion information in Ireland. Those are the 3 things that were decided on by 3 referenda in 1992. Freedom to travel, freedom of information, and threat of suicide counting as grounds for abortion. However, in 2016 and 2017, undercover reporters went into crisis pregnancy agencies who were denying this information to someone that they thought was pregnant and providing false information. Basically scaremongering about what an abortion, how an abortion can ruin your life. The electorate has decided that it wants people to be able to travel and be able to get information, but the organisations of the country aren't quite on board with the electorate, like the crisis pregnancy agencies or all these fucking things that are run by nuns and shit. Dial it back, dial it back. Okay, we're gonna... Stay with me. I'm almost there. There have been a number of cases in recent years that have increased support for repealing the 8th Amendment. One case is Savita Halapanavar, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, who died in 2012. I'll put a link down in the description to read more on that case, but she was a very large push for a lot of people to join this movement and realise what the 8th was actually doing to women on a day-to-day basis. And I don't want to butcher the details of that case, so again, link down in the description. Another case more recently, and I don't mean to be flippant by summarising it this way, but it involved a pregnant woman who was being kept alive on life support as a sort of incubator for her baby, against the wishes of her family, who sued the state for the right to pull the plug. However, and this is pretty key, and it seems to be missed in every fucking Repeal the 8th debate. Repealing the 8th in Ireland will not make abortion legal. It will then have to be legislated for. In fact, there is current existing legislation on top of the 8th. It's called the Protection of Life During Pregnancy Act 2013. It states the destruction of an unborn life carries a jail term of 14 years. This means women who procure safe abortion pills in Ireland and take them in Ireland could face a jail term of up to 14 years. But if they fly over to England and they're not our problem anymore, it's totally fine. Just for comparison's sake, and I'm not saying that every woman who wants an abortion has been raped, but just for comparison's sake, a rapist in Ireland gets an average sentence of between 5 and 10 years. Hypothetically, if a woman did get raped and took safe abortion pills to get rid of the rapist's child, she could go to jail for longer than him. Up to 9 years longer than him. So, that seems fair. But anyway, herein lies the confusion. What do we want to legislate for after the 8th is repealed? What does Repeal the 8th as a movement stand for? The pro-life side would have you believe that all of the pro-choice side are like flat-out medical babies. They would have you believe that the pro-choice side would rather just kill babies instead of use condoms, or just kill girls because I want a boy, or, you know, kill a baby with Down syndrome, why not? That is what the pro-life side will tell you that the pro-choice side are doing. All the pro-choice side at this moment in time are fighting for is Repeal of the 8th. Herein lies the confusion within the Repeal the 8th movement. The pro-choice people have a number of different opinions on what they want. The pro-life people only have one. There are pro-choice people that believe that abortion should only be available in the cases of rape, incest, or fatal fetal abnormality. To clarify, because there has been a lot of misleading on this, fatal fetal abnormality means a condition that is fatal to the fetus. Honestly, some in the pro-choice side are anti-abortion but want women to have the choice. In an ideal world, they would hope that nobody would have to have one, but they recognize that sometimes women need that choice. And they trust women to make that choice responsibly. Some want abortion to be legal, available to everyone, and free. The pro-life people want abortion to be legal in all cases. You get pregnant, you're having it. The big problem is that this argument is going to get nasty the same way the same-sex marriage argument got nasty. In fact, it's already getting nasty. The pro-life side are currently attacking the idea that rape victims should be allowed to terminate the resulting pregnancies should they so wish. And they're doing this by putting up posters of children that say, "I was a result of rape, but I'm a baby too," and holding meetings in hotels where they bring rape victims out. They trot them out to say things like, "I was raped, but I kept my baby, and look at my child now. Could you abort this space?" It's awful, man. It's real bad. I think it's incredibly manipulative. I think it's awful. If somebody wants to share their story, fine. But don't trot out rape victims to suit your agenda. Either side. It's awful, man. It's real fucking bad. Here's where I stand. I used to think that abortion should only be available in cases of rape, incest, or fatal fetal abnormality, because I can see the obvious reason why you wouldn't want to have a baby in that scenario. So that was my stance on it for years. I was explaining this one day to a friend of mine. Obviously, if a woman is raped, she shouldn't have to carry the child of a rapist. Like, obviously. Obviously, if a woman is carrying a child that's like not viable and is going to die either in the womb or shortly afterwards and potentially put her life in danger, like, she shouldn't have to carry that child. Like, obviously. I explained this to my friend and she said, "So you're okay with the idea of abortion?" In other words, I was okay with a woman who had been raped terminating her pregnancy, but not a woman who'd had consensual sex. She was right. I was passing judgment. Oh, if you've been raped, you can definitely abort, but like not if you chose to have sex, like. Due to my strict Catholic upbringing, and it was strict, as much as I joke about it, I had accidentally internalized a lot of the teachings, including a distrust of women. I wasn't trusting women to make their own decisions. Ever since that conversation with my friend, I have wanted abortion to be free, safe, and legal for all. I trust myself with the choice, and I trust other women with the choice, and I want society to trust all of us with that decision. Repealing the 8th is only a very small step in a very long journey. So the TDLR of this is that repealing the 8th only removes the constitutional ban on abortion. We will still have to further legislate. It's important to note here that Ireland did have a citizens' assembly this year. The same thing we ran before we eventually decided to go for a gay marriage referendum. The citizens' assembly was a group of people all put together, and then they heard from experts, they heard real life stories, they heard from both sides equally the arguments as to why you shouldn't repeal it or you should repeal it. And they decided that it should be amended or replaced, that the government should legislate, and they recommended that what the government should legislate for is abortion up to 12 weeks for everybody, abortion up to 22 weeks for socio-economic reasons, and abortion at any point during the pregnancy for a fatal fetal abnormality. I think that's pretty clear. So that's where we are on repealing the 8th. A referendum has been promised, and it's just going to get nasty from here. It's already getting pretty nasty. But yeah, so that is what repealing the 8th is. If you see people wearing these repeal jumpers, that's what they mean. They want to repeal the 8th Amendment, which gives equal right to life for mother and baby, and has resulted, unfortunately, in the death of several mothers as a result. If you have any further questions, leave them down in the description. I'll do my best to answer them. Again, I'm going to put all those links in the description. And yeah, I'm no expert, and I am biased. I want to repeal the 8th. I feel like a lot of people around the world are having the same conversation at the minute. And the thing is, like, abortion has been a thing as long as there have been pregnancies. Like, free, safe and legal abortion just means people aren't ordering pills off the internet or getting back alley abortions or using hangers. Let's not go back to the days of having to use hangers, please. One last point I'm going to make, because I feel like people are going to say, well, like, you can already fly to England, so what's your problem? Not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can afford to fly to England and pay for an abortion. And for any argument of contraception, like, first of all, contraception is not 100% effective, but also, contraception is not freely available either. Yes, condoms, finally legal. It only took to what, the 1980s. But you know what isn't free? Any form of birth control. Any form of birth control or contraception is not free. In fact, it's quite expensive. It involves doctor's visits, and then you have to pay for the actual thing. It actually works out quite expensive. It's a couple of €100 a year minimum. So if you're going to use the argument against abortion that people should just be using contraception, fight for contraception to be freely available. Fight for condoms to be free. Fight for the pill to be free. Fight for there to be some sort of subsidy for birth control for women. Thank you. I'm done. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to make a video a week. The day got a bit fucked up there for a while, but do my best. Okay, bye. I forgot to put blush on. It'll suit the pro-life agenda. Look at her. She looks like she has no soul. The link down in the description box. God, I haven't done this in ages. The link down in the